did recently get, I'm sorry, I did recently get a new one that I'm personal rep for. I'm Berkshires attorney. Undoubtedly there was a daughter that was the personal rep, and Tom said she wasn't doing what she was supposed to do, so he petitioned the court to have me appointed, so I'm working on that one now, and that's what I need. That's it, sorry.
I wanted to talk briefly about something that's come to light in recent times that is really a potential problem for our county, particularly the eastern side of our county. And you may have read about this in the newspaper. It's referred to as Plan H, the Corps Engineer Plan H on levee control. We have been to 3 meetings, I guess, and then there's another one tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Knights of Columbus Hall at Marino. And the individuals that come to this are officials that have been involved in this. We've had Corps of Engineer people there. We've had members of the group that's called UMIMRA, that stands for Upper Mississippi, Illinois, and Missouri Rivers Association, have come to the meeting. And then we've had state legislators, representatives from federal legislators. And we're working with Pike County, St. Charles County, and Lincoln County. That's the 3 counties that are affected. Basically, just briefly and simply, the plan that's been submitted to Congress, the Plan H, would call for raising of the levees, all the upper part of the Mississippi, and on the Illinois side, continuing down, but not permitting that same levee rise for Pike and Lincoln or St. Charles. You know, the effects of that, if that were to be approved, would be devastating flood-wise. They kind of designate our area as, what's the official word they use there? Holding area, yeah, which means
flood area.
Basically really flooded area, much more so than we've experienced in the past. It's not something that's been implemented yet or funded. In fact, when the Corps of Engineers presented that plan, and it has to be federally approved, they didn't even recommend it, they just presented it. But it is the current plan that's being considered. And in the early stages, when there were meetings about this, there was no notification of people that are directly involved in this, St. Charles, Lincoln, and Pike County. So one of the things that the Corps of Engineers had said, well, we had public meetings and no one from these areas came to protest or anything.
Well, they probably had no clue where the levee was going to stop out.
They had no clue. We were given no one in the 3 county area was given a clue of these meetings being held.
Let me ask you this
They
question.
were held in Kansas City, Columbia, and around coastal areas.
Let me ask you this question. Who's pushing this? Is it the Corps?
The Corps drew up the plan. They originally were going to recommend Plan G, and it called for an area of Madison County, Illinois, that would kind of be they petitioned and protested enough that was dropped, and so they went to the Plan H, which would be devastating to us. Yeah, it's their plan that they've drawn up. Now, it will take approval, by Congress. They need the approval from all 3 states. Iowa, of course, you can imagine, and this organization, and they've sent material to us and would like for us to join that organization, being members of that. Well, we can't see any advantage to that because naturally it's a plan that they would favor because it would have flood control there. So these meetings, a lot of the people from the levee districts have been coming. I expect the crowd tomorrow night to be real large. Two of the earlier meetings were held at the fairgrounds in Pike County. Bob Kirkpatrick, who is the county clerk of Pike County, he's kind of taken a lead in this, and he's had a lot of material, which I've got material that's, he's handed out and he's discussed and presented at these meetings, and he has really spent a lot of time and knows a lot on the subject, and he'll be involved in the program tomorrow night. Eddie Schieffer's involved in this now, and other legislators are. It couldn't possibly be anything good news for Lincoln County if it
Well,
happened.
if they're gonna raise the levies just to a certain point, they're just gonna filter all and spill in our county.
Yeah, and our point is, if you're gonna raise the levies, fine, but raise it consistently. You know, levies need to be
I mean,
raised,
even
but,
the city of St. Louis, to a certain extent, would probably feel the effect of that, even though with their flood walls.
yeah, and although I think St. Louis would be more protected from it than.
Well, yeah, their flood walls already exist, but I'm just wondering if the level be high enough to, sustain it.
They'll hold it back.
I mean,
They're not gonna flood St. Louis.
The dams would probably be like,
There's some kind of old laws where they can't raise it any more than a foot in the lower part of Mississippi. That's an old, so that's why they're supposed to have to.
well, I just read something, I don't know what it was on the internet the other day, but they're talking about revamping these dams along Mississippi to make them high to like possibilities too. With the low flow generation of power.
They've been looking into that for some time, but there's too much of a chance of, fish kill. Habitat's already established where there's too much chance there of killing exotic fish, and so they're.
Now,
looking
is
at other
the dam
avenues.
project still on that you know of, as far as it linking for the lock or something like that? They haven't heard any more about
Well,
that?
they talked about putting a whole new block of dam in, but
Yeah.
that's federally funded, and they don't have the money either.
I don't think it's it's still being talked about, but it's not anyways close to being
This thing will
implemented.
take years to get done, if it's, even if it's passed, so then you can fight it again.
So we've adopted resolution, other counties have done the same in opposition to this. There's petitions been circulated, the levy people now, the different levy districts, they're pretty well informed of what's going on, and I imagine there'll be a lot of attendance there and a lot said tomorrow night's meeting. It's 7 o'clock at Thursday.
Well, it doesn't seem to
night's
make
meeting
much,
in Maryknoll.
it doesn't seem to make much sense if you're gonna levy part of the river, is this gonna be from the state of Missouri on down to just like what Rawls County, is that what the northern county of Pike is?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's just gonna stop there as far as raising?
500
Yeah,
a year.
right.
But what is so beneficial up in the northeast part of the state, it's not just as beneficial in the east central?
That's a good question. They say, they want their cropland protected and everything up there because that's
Well,
being
our
cut.
cropland down here is
Exactly.
not as valuable as theirs.
That's their
So much
implication.
scrap, I think the
Yeah.
farmers should
I
probably
think
attest
that's
to that.
exactly what they're implying.
I think
Or
you got a
saying.
big battle ahead of them there.
The big problem is that we have so much ground here in northern St. Charles, Lincoln, and Pike County that is owned by conservation. And they're pushing for it to go back to wetlands, yeah.
Well, your recreational stuff is the ones that are gonna suffer the most because they want that piece of quiet up there, but they're never gonna be able to use it again, ever.
What they're not considering is the fact that the duck clubs, the recreational areas, they still harvest the crops off.
Sure.
It's still farm ground that's being farmed and harvested. It's just that,
I mean, some of the best soil in the county's out there in them bottoms. So you think the best crops are gonna be grown there?
There have been some articles in the paper just now in recent weeks. I know the Ellsbury Democrat said the last 2 weeks they had a front page feature on it. So people are beginning to find out about it, but up until
Wait,
a month or so ago, it wasn't known.
I noticed that like Eddie was here and some other people that were here, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
Just
we
got
have
a clue,
one
I had
here.
no clue what was going on.
they've been working on it for 5 years. Didn't tell us Pike, St. Charles, anything about it.
I didn't know about it, they wouldn't have went to this one meeting in some literature when they got home.